Well, the Biden administration has announced a new wave of student loan forgiveness. This latest action will cancel nearly $5 billion in debt for about 74,000 borrowers. Many of those people have worked in the public sector for more than a decade. According to the White House, the Biden administration has so far canceled over $136 billion in student debt. So for more on this, we want to bring in Miguel Cardona. He is the Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education. Thank you so much for joining us again. So a lot of people are going to be really happy to hear this. What I want to ask you, because you know when the Biden administration has tried in the past to cancel some student loans, they've been hit with lawsuits. So are we confident that this latest wave of loan forgiveness will stand up to whatever sort of legal challenges there might be? And is there more to come? Because you know there are people who are going to be left out who are wondering when's their turn.
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. Not only are we confident that it's going to withstand, we're confident that we're going to continue fighting to make sure we can forgive as many loans as possible for those who are eligible. We're talking about public servants. We're talking about teachers, nurses, military veterans, people who are making their community better. We're proud of this latest announcement, but it's one of many efforts that we're doing that the president has charged us to do to make higher education more affordable, more accessible. Really proud of the announcement today.
And I should just tell people we gave sort of some of the details, but they're going to have to look it up themselves because there's a lot of other sort of interesting things, including cutting down monthly payments and stuff like that, that will probably make a huge difference. But I have other things to talk to you about. You spoke at the United States Conference of Mayors winter meeting yesterday, and you discussed mental health among students. You said that, quote, 1 in 3 high school girls has considered suicide the last 3 years. That should not be something that is just brushed by, is what you said, or we shouldn't brush that off. What is your department doing to address the issue of mental health among some of our students?
You know, we take this very seriously as an educator, but more importantly as a father. I know how important this is for the youth today. We're requiring that districts, states really consider making mental health support for students a bigger part of the experience for students. We cannot continue by reacting to issues. We have to be more proactive. We have to make sure that we have more school counselors. You know, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act provided $2 billion to assist this. The president's been pushing to make sure that Medicaid reimbursement is available for behavioral health, and we've got that accomplished. We're putting tools for districts and states. We want to make sure that there's a shared urgency here. When I talk to students and when I talk to parents, this is the #1 issue that they bring up. So we need to respond, and in this administration we are. I wanted to share with the mayors, as I shared with the governors, as you're doing your State of the State speech or State of the City speech, please make sure the mental health of our youth is a priority.
You know, it doesn't escape me that you talk that in that statistic, it's the last 3 years. And one of the things that we've lived through as a nation is the pandemic. We know that had a huge impact on the mental health of not just kids, but everyone. The other thing it had a huge impact on is the academic performance of students here. What it did in education, as it did in all aspects of life, is really expose problems that were already there, already festering. You said yesterday that when it comes to academic success, the rankings of the United States internationally are dismal. Is it really that bad? And what are we doing then? How are we going to fix this?
Thank you, Anne-Marie, for bringing attention to this. Prior to the pandemic, or as I said to the mayors yesterday, our data was nothing to write home about. We were lagging internationally. And what we found is some of the recovery dollars and supports from the American Rescue Plan have helped us maintain standing or even improve standing internationally. We should not be content with that. There should be a level of urgency. We need to make sure students are reading by 3rd grade, high-level math. We should be leading the world in education. So the charge was, as you know, the schools are open, the lights are on, we should not take our foot off the gas pedal, prioritizing education, doing what we know works. And we lifted up some great examples at the White House the other day. Look, it's all of our jobs. This isn't a red or blue issue. This is a student issue. And we're committed to making sure we raise the bar in education.
But you know that, some of the challenges, though, that students face, they're facing outside of the classroom, whether it's access to nutritious food or access to reliable internet. This is a little bit, it's bigger than the education department, but can this department lead and help to change even beyond education?
Absolutely. And Marie, it's music to my ears because, when I was a school principal, I knew that it required all hands on deck, that it was a community effort. So when you talk about food insecurity, housing insecurity, mental health needs, even making sure that parents have access to high skill, high paying careers and jobs to help their families, this is all what we're doing in the Biden-Harris administration. We're working collectively together to make sure that these strategies are supporting states and districts. I'll give you one quick example. We recognize that when we have schools that are connected to the community, they perform better and the students do better. And those obstacles to learning are addressed better. The president doubled full service community schools funding. And we've seen examples in rural communities all over America where students are getting the supports that they need so that when they get to school, they're ready to learn. All those other obstacles are being addressed through these full service community schools, and they're being supported academically. So I agree. It takes a village, and what we're pushing in the Biden-Harris administration is to work together with states, local leaders, and community leaders to get the job done. Our kids deserve it.
And Secretary, before I let you go, I want to ask you about a conversation that's been happening on university campuses across the country about issues related to free speech, but also about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia that has been on the rise. Students say they do not feel safe on these campuses, and the president has said these universities have to do more. They have to do better. What can the department do? What's the department's role?
I certainly agree. Look, as a father, the last thing I would want is for my child to be on a campus and feel unsafe or unable to express who he or she is because of fear of threat or violence. That's unacceptable in the United States. It's the responsibility of all educators, especially the leaders on campus, to ensure a safe learning environment. That's non-negotiable. We have over 50 investigations open. We're taking these very seriously. We're being very aggressive. But we're also providing resources, support, meeting with college presidents, meeting with students to make sure that they know what resources are available to them. We're going to continue to do that. Look, college should be a place where people can exchange ideas and disagree, but they have to do so in a safe way. I visited Dartmouth College recently where they're doing it, and they're really showing an exemplar of how student-led conversations can happen. You don't have to agree, but you have to be civil and respectful. That's what we want our students to learn. It could be a teachable moment.
Secretary Miguel Cardona, thank you so much.
Thank you.